Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Vincent Fue, your digital marketing consultant here in Kenya. And today I want us to talk about the basics of a website. People ask me, I need to open a website. Where do I start from? Well, it's actually very simple. You just need two things. You need a domain name and a hosting. The domain name is basically derived from your business or from your personal name. Like me, I use Fuya Digital. Vincent Fue is my name, so I chose fuyadigital.co.ke. You'll find other people who have chosen .com, .org, .biz, .school. You see the government using .gov. So depending on your business and who you are targeting, that's how you come about with the domain. So my advice would be, if you are in the Kenyan market, you go with the .co.ke domain. First is always cheap. In other words, affordable, and most people can afford it. So it's good. And also when we come later into ranking, you'll find that .co.ke is very important when you want to rank very well in Kenya against your competitors doing the same business as you. So .co.ke is very important. But if you want to choose .com, still it will work. And .com is more of a worldwide platform. So this means that maybe your business is targeting people out there, which is still okay. No worries. So as I said, you need a domain and you need a hosting. So what is a hosting? So hosting is basically the housing for the domain. Once you buy a domain, it needs to be housed somewhere. If you can buy a domain without a hosting, but it will not serve you. It will need a hosting for it to work. And that's why we are here. So there are so many companies in Kenya that offer these services where you can go and purchase a domain and hosting. If you're not even ready to build a website, it's advisable that you go and purchase your domain as early as possible so that someone doesn't flip your domain. I'm sure most of you don't know what flipping is. So flipping is basically someone comes, sees your business, goes online. There are so many platforms where you can check if a domain is registered. So this person then knows that you have not registered your domain. They go ahead and register for themselves. So once they register, the day you as the business person will come to register the domain for your business, you'll find that it's already registered. And for you to access that, now you need to pay him. And sometimes they charge more. So domain flipping is there, and don't get caught in that trap. So I just want us to jump to the screen so that I can show you what it looks like. And like I said, there's so many companies. We have both local and international companies that do this. For international, we have, let's say, GoDaddy, we have Hostinga. There's so many. Locally, we have TrueHost, we have Host Africa, we have hosting.com, WebHost. There's so many. Depending on your preference and your budget, you decide. Now, so once you buy the domain and the hosting, you'll be redirected to this. So this is called a cPanel. So cPanel is where everything happens. The first thing you're going to see here is written email accounts. And before I jump into that, it's very important when you're buying the hosting. There's so many different types of web hosting. I'd recommend Lightspeed servers because hosting is basically a server. Ile unasikiaga server iko down, it's basically here. Server iko chini, we can't access the website. It means you can't access the hosting platform. So a server is very important. We have different. We have Apache, we have Geeks, we have Lightspeed, we have Open Lightspeed. There's so many, but I prefer using Lightspeed because it goes a long way. When you start building a website, this is just the first step. Later, when you're starting to do the optimization for you to rank, and that is where my expertise are. I'm so much focused in making your business rank. Building a website is very easy, but ranking is not. So if you don't choose Lightspeed, it will come back later to haunt us. And this will be a series that I'm going to do after we register this domain. I'm going to show you how, if you don't have a Lightspeed, it's going to affect. Basically, in ranking, the speed of your website actually matters. How fast is your website loading? Google looks at that and what your competitors are doing, and then it's going to improve your ranking. So let's get back to the cPanel. So you have the email accounts. People always ask, I need an email account with my domain. For me, I have a couple. I have info@fuyadigital.co.ke, admin@fuyadigital.co.ke, sales at. So all those emails that you want, you create from here. I'm not going to open the the button because of privacy purposes. So this basically the first button here you can see is about managing the email and the disk space. And talking about the disk space is very important because as you're purchasing the hosting, what you're basically purchasing is the disk space that you're going to get. For example, if I scroll down here, if I scroll down, let me just see the total. You see, so these things matter here. I think my total is this 48.3 48.83 GB. So my hosting is quite big, 48.83 GB. This can host even an e-commerce website with up to 300 products. You will get other hosting that maybe have 20 GB. I think the minimum I've come across is 20 GB, but 20 GB is just the basic. As you as more emails as you add more emails to your website, it's going to eat up more space as people are sending emails. If you're doing e-commerce website, the more you add the products, uh, the more the space is reducing, and the more you need more space. Yeah, I think something like that. Yes, and there's so many other factors. There's so many other factors that will make your disk full. For example, if you're going to be doing backups, and it's very important. If you have a website, it's very important to do a backup every now and then because zuanguka and there's nothing you can do about it. Sometimes they just collapse, no reason. So it's very important that you have a backup so that even if website yako ikianguka, you're able to come back to where you are instead of having to start afresh. Let's move on. So the next, this is the file manager. So most of the things here are more about, web design guys. As someone who is into business, this information is not really important, but of course you can ask your service provider to explain to you all of these. The PHP, we have the WordPress management, all these are, they're for web designers. We have the scripts. Hizi zote utapata kwa cPanel. So that is the cPanel. Now once you get to the cPanel, personally I use WordPress to create the websites for myself and for my clients. So first we need to install the WordPress script. You see here, you can add the scripts here. All these are scripts used to create websites, but my focus is on WordPress because this is what I use. So when I click on website, I'll just show you how to install the our WordPress on. For you to see the website, it needs a script. We have people who use WordPress. We have people who use Shopify. We have designers and people in computer science who code manually. They use CSS, they use JavaScript, they use HTML. But I'm not into that, so I just use WordPress. It's very easy for me. I understand it. Every other person has their own platform, which they understand better, but the result is usually the same. You get to see your website. So we have WordPress here. As you can see, I've already installed WordPress on my domain, fuyadigital.co.ke. So you need to make sure that it's here, so that when someone visits fuyadigital.co.ke, they are going to find our website here. That's my website, Fuya Digital. You can follow me. I do a lot of blogs on issues concerning SEO, web design, Google business profile, all those. So let's get back to the cPanel. Now, many customers ask for cPanel details. Other web designers don't usually feel comfortable giving the cPanel details, but as a client who is paying for this, I can assure you that it is your right to have the access to your cPanel. This is because sometimes business don't go well. You might have a disagreement with your service provider, and if you can't access the cPanel, there's nothing the next web designer can do. The first access is always the cPanel. So it's good that it's your right that you ask for these ones. We also have situations where I've experienced situations where the web designer has just vanished. You try to reach them, they're not available, and you've acquired the services of another web designer and you need your website to go online and they can't access this one. So it's very important. It's your right. Make sure you demand for it. uh, for future reference and for future use, or else if something happens, you're going to have very big problems. So ladies and gentlemen, that is today I was talking about the hosting and the domain. And as I said when I started, those are the two things you need to start the website journey. Without those ones, you can't do anything. I know if you go online, there are companies purporting to offer free domain and hosting. Well, it's true and not true at the same time. So what will happen? For example, let's say the company, like my company, it's called Fuya Digital. That's my company with the domain registered Fuya Digital. If I tell you I'm opening a free domain and a hosting for you, what I'll do, I'll create what is called a subdomain. And subdomains are not usually good. A subdomain will be, let's say your business is motors, Motors Kenya. For example, you're selling cars and you want to register that domain. So this is what your domain will be: motorskenya.fuyadigital.co.ke. My domain will be the one anchoring your name, which is not good. So instead, you should just buy your own and have motorskenya.com.co.ke.biz. Don't go to subdomains. Subdomains will come later to haunt you. They will definitely affect your ranking, because Google will see this as a subdomain and it will focus on the domain that is anchoring your website. So don't be fooled out there. We have crooks out there who are doing this, and please don't get into the box. You can always call us. You don't need to do all this by yourself. Some of these things are so technical. As a business person, I know you have a business to run, you have stuff to take care of, you have 1, 2, 3 to do. Don't worry about the digital marketing side of your business. There's me, there's other service providers out there who are going to help you do this. So our number is down below there. All you have to do is just call or email us at info@fuyadigital.co.ke, and then we'll be able to talk. We'll give you a quotation, and then we can start from there. So that's it for the hosting and the domain. See you next time.